What's up, everybody? What's up? I want to welcome you to the Encounter Podcast. I am Marcus Stewart. You can find me and follow me on all social media platforms at underscore Minister Marcus. I created this channel to help people, man. That's it. As simple as that. To help people. I had some personal issues, personal encounters, and I wanted to share them with you tonight. I'm going just as real as I can be. I'm going to try to keep it real, keep it brief, of course. And so first, before I get into the show tonight, I do want to encourage you guys to help me grow the channel. I really just started doing apologetics, so I'm going to be incorporating some of those things into my Wednesday night episode. So for everybody that you ask having questions and have asked me questions, I do encourage you guys to watch on Wednesdays, man. Of course, I am a real minister in real life. Is not just what I call myself, but I want to do it in such a way like you can actually learn and it don't sound churchy or cliche, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I started doing apologetics, man. I kind of really got into it. I've been studying the Bible for like years. And so yeah, man, I saw one of these videos on YouTube, of course, and they was doing like a little conversation slash discussion. And man, I really took a liking to it, and I started liking it. I started enjoying it. So I figured I would, start reading up on it and kind of answering some of those questions and some of those objections to faith. But so tonight, I really just wanted to come on and give my personal testimony. I had a conversation with a young man a couple of days ago who was talking to me about some of the things that he was experiencing in his life, and it sounded a lot like a lot of conversations that I had with other young guys. As they deal with life, as they deal with challenges, as they deal with struggles, and sometimes they don't have nobody to talk to. They don't have nobody to kind of mentor them or say the right things to them at the right times, if that makes sense. And so yeah, I thought I would just do a whole episode on just my personal journey and some of the struggles that I had. Maybe you can identify with them. But so I always start off every episode with diet. I'm not gonna really jump into diet tonight. I'm just gonna say, man, make sure you eating right, make sure you taking care of your body. Is no reason, absolutely no reason for you to be overweight in 2025. Is absolutely no reason. They have so many self-help videos. They have so many self-help routines, exercises, diets that you can get on. There is absolutely no reason for you to not be taking care of your body in 2025. And so I want to remind you that health is the new wealth. Like you can have a whole lot of money and not be healthy enough to spend it. And it's just like a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? So I always encourage everybody, even if you are going to the gym is not substitute for diet. You need to eat right. If you go to the gym every single day of the week, let's say you go to the gym every day of the week, right? And then Friday of the first year, at the end of the first year, you've been at the gym 5 days a week. You humping at the gym. You got leg day. You got arm day. You exercising every single day. At the end of the year, you drink a cup of bleach. What do you think is gonna happen? I say that because what you do on the outside for your exterior is one thing, but you also have to be doing that same thing for your interior. And that's why I encourage diet. So I do look, I have a book up here. Oh, it's not up here. Oh, yes, it is. I have a book up here just for you can eat to improve your diet. And the reason why I like this book is because it don't have a whole lot of gimmicks. It just have simple stuff that you can incorporate into your day-to-day diet. Yeah, to help you be more healthy, to help you eat more healthy. And so yeah, tonight, so I want to start, man. My story starts, and I'm not gonna make it long and drawn out, but my story starts when I was young. I was a teenager. I kind of came to the faith. I was going to church, raised in church, like we all are. raised up in church. My grandfather was the pastor of the church. My daddy was a preacher. All of my cousins was preaching. Everybody started like getting the call. My little brother got the call. I got the call. My cousin got the call. My other cousins got the call. Like, we all musicians. We're just a real blessed and talented family. And so, I'm in church my whole life, man. And I had originally got saved when I was a teenager. I kind of backslid a little bit. And then, I started trying to really just kind of do it right. So I had a crush on this chick. And I shot my well, actually, I'm not going into all the way of how we met, but it was kind of like a mutual thing. We was liking each other, we was feeling each other. And man, initially, you know what, we hit it off, man. We was going out, we started liking each other, as most people do. And the thing about it, in church, when you are in church, they always encourage young people to get married. And I encourage young people to get married, but they wasn't really pushing for us to do like counseling. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wasn't pushing for us to like go and talk to somebody. Like, I think the girl that I was getting ready to marry at that time, she did say something about counseling, but I wasn't really into it. And nobody was really like pushing me and encouraging me to like, man, y'all need to go to premarital counseling. Y'all need to go and talk to somebody. Y'all need to talk to a couple that has been married, more than one couple that has been married, and kind of see, if that's what, y'all really want to do. Talk about these conversations that y'all need to have before you get married. But they were really just pushing us to get married. They were really like pushing us to kind of get married. And there's nothing wrong with getting married, but I am a big advocate for doing right things the right way. So boom, we getting married. We got married, and man, like, the first 2 weeks was great. And then after that, all hell broke loose. Like, we got into marriage, like, having all these expectations, and a lot of them were immature, a lot of them were just unrealistic, a lot of them were just wrong and bad. And our relationship, we had love. And see, like, this the thing, like, you can have love, right, in your relationship. You can have love with the person, but what they didn't tell us, you need more than just love to make a relationship work. You need more than just love to like make your marriage like really like stay together. You know what I'm saying? So boom, we in the marriage, we it's not going good at all, but we had real love for each other. Like, the love was real, but we just had so many unrealistic expectations, man. It hurt our relationship. And then on top of that, our responses towards each other was real immature. But boom, we was just gonna ride it out. Cause then you know what happens after that? You in love, you in marriage. Next thing comes, the baby carriage. So boom, she get pregnant real early, and then it's the spiral of events. And most people be in relationships like that. It's unhealthy. The y'all are not really meshing. Y'all are not syncing up. And that's another reason why, another one of the reasons why I started this podcast too, is because I'm big on doing right things, doing them the right way. Like, you can have certain things in order, but certain things will trip you up if you're not even, you don't even know to look for the certain things or to have certain conversations. So, like, man, the kid came and our relationship was rocky. It was, we had love, but it wasn't like we was like in the right place mentally. And so, man, I made a lot of mistakes. And so, I'm at the same time, I'm trying to like, okay, I'm not gonna just leave because she got my kid. We really love each other, we really locked in, but we just having problems. And so, like, everybody, when you having problems, you got a kid, it ain't going perfect, but you just like, I'm gonna try to ride it out, I'm gonna try to stick it out, I'm gonna try to, you know. But the thing is, again, we didn't get counseling. We didn't talk to nobody. Like, it was just us in the house. And some days will be better days than others, but it wasn't healthy. But it wasn't just too bad that we couldn't just work it out. In my mind, I'm thinking we can work through this. Like, everybody marriage be going through stuff, everybody relationship got this going on, got that going on, but we can ride it out, we can tough it out. I know we got love, we got the kid, boom, we be having good days. Everybody have bad days. So I'm thinking this way, really locked in. When a man really choose to marry a woman, and especially if when he's young, if he's old, whatever, dudes be really like, dude really just gonna marry no chick, especially if you're trying to do the right thing. He ain't gonna marry her if he don't really just have some strong feelings like love connection with her. So I was really in love, my kid came, and it was tight. I'm locked in, like I ain't going nowhere. Then boom, we have our little ups and downs, and then our living situation was it was rough because we didn't understand nothing about finances. We didn't know nothing about budgeting or managing our money. I'm talking about, like, I'm the man, and I wasn't even on that. I was just trying to just do the right thing, but I needed that guidance. You know what I'm saying? I needed that counseling. So anyway, make a long story short, like we stay together. Then we have another kid. Right at this point, our relationship is really kind of like taking a turn for the worse, like truthfully. And so, like, how people be like, they they tell you, they was telling us in church, don't break up, and y'all ride it out, y'all stick it out, y'all, blah blah blah, y'all a cute couple, right? But like on the outside, we was looking good to everybody, like at the church and stuff. But like internally, we was like, we wasn't doing good. And then on top of the financial struggles, it was just like a lot of stuff we didn't really know how to deal with each other. We didn't know how to love each other the right way. Like, when you married, and this again another reason why I started the podcast. Like when you married, man, it's so many things that is happening at the same time. And then if you don't know yourself, like it's gonna be really hard, especially if you don't know yourself, the other person don't know they self, but then y'all have like a lot of real life situations and scenarios going on, and y'all don't know, like we didn't know how to lean into each other, like we didn't know. And so anyway, boom, we had another kid. So we two kids in, the relationship is not going good. By this time, every time we get in an argument, I'm leaving. We get in an argument, we talking to each other crazy, we cussing at each other, we didn't treat each other well at all. And so I'm not trying to throw no shade. I'm just trying to get you to see, like, understand, like our situation was bad. So at this time, our relationship kind of take a nosedive. So boom, I leave. Right by this time, I'm gone, and most of the time, when the situation is not good at home, the dude leave. What happened? He go get somebody else. So, so I don't know what she had going on, but for me, I left and I told her, I'm like, I'm done. It's over. Like we just need to leave. I'm gonna still be here for my kids. Blah blah blah. So we left. Boom. Uh, I ended up doing what I did. I had an infidelity. I was seeing another person, and then which made, and that anybody that's watching this, if you are in a relationship that is not doing well, cheating does not help the situation at all. I'm gonna just tell you that. I know you heard that, but the truth is, if it's bad, cheating is gonna make it go worse. So we was already broke up though. In my mind, I'm like, it's over. I'm done. I'm not going back. There's no way we can rekindle what we have. And so boom, somehow we ended up, all right, we're gonna try to work it out. She actually wanted to work it out. But again, we didn't get no counseling. We didn't see nobody. We didn't have no consultants, right? And so, I come back in still having some of the same issues going on. She had some of the same issues going on, but then include that, me leaving and all of the stuff that happened between us while I was gone, to add insult to it, we had another kid, right? And so this time, at this point, our relationship is just completely done. So at this point, I'm really just there trying to salvage whatever parts that we can salvage. And so somehow in the midst of that, I found out some information that I ain't want to find out about another person that I don't know whether they was dealing with each other or what, but that to me was like the complete last straw. And so we ended up, yeah, man, we ended up going through the divorce. Now keep in mind, like I was holding on because I'm thinking like God is gonna be mad at me. Like I need to make this right. I shouldn't have left. She has my kids. Like that's gonna make me be a deadbeat. I don't want to be apart from my children. I don't want to leave her stranded. I don't want my kids growing up with another person in their life. I don't want my kids growing up without me in their life. I got all this stuff going on. Like God is gonna hate me for getting divorced. Like I don't want to I just had all of the normal, regular stuff going through my mind. I felt like divorce was the worst thing, and I needed to try. And even if I, had to just suck it up and just be miserable for the rest of my life, I would have done it. And the whole situation was just like boom, that was just like it for me. And I'm like, It ain't no coming back from this, man. At this time, like we wasn't seeing eye to eye on nothing. We wasn't communicating well with each other. We wasn't just doing anything right, with each other. And I think she was trying to get her lick back for what I did, or she was trying to make me think that she did. I don't know. I'm not here to speculate, but I will say I found out whatever information that I found out. And so for me, I'm like, man, we can either try to work it out or we could just go our separate ways. And I don't know. It was too much bad blood. And so I'm gonna say this before I go to the next thing, because when you in a relationship, if you have real love with your person, don't throw dirt. Like imagine having like water in the cup, clean, the purest water that you can find. This is like a cup of clean, pure water in a glass cup. When you speak to that person bad, when you mistreat that person, when you cheat on that person, or when you betray that person's trust, or when you do something against your relationship, it's like throwing dirt in that cup. Even if it's a little bit of dirt, you throw a little bit of dirt in the cleanest cup of water, that cup of water is gonna be dirty. Now picture this. Every time y'all disrespect each other, both of y'all just throwing dirt in that cup. Every time y'all lie to each other, y'all throwing more dirt in the cup. Every time y'all do something against each other, you throwing more dirt in y'all's cup of clean water. And ultimately, what happens is it goes from just being a little bit dirty to real dirty, to the point where you can't get the cup clean. You can't get the water clean. It's just too dirty. And that's what happened, like in our relationship. And that's what happened in a lot of relationships, bro. Like it's just too much dirt in the clean cup. And there's no coming back from that. You know what I'm saying? So like that's what happened. Like it was just too much dirt for us to overcome. Even if we had got counseling, I don't think we could have came back. I seriously doubt it. But that started my downward spiral. Like I went on a downward spiral. Like my emotions was all over the place. Like I couldn't see my kids like I wanted to. I thought she was seeing another person. Like I was just completely, I didn't have nowhere to live. I was like homeless. I didn't want to stay at my mom's house and then staying at my mom's house. It was just crazy over there. I'm young. I'm the first one in my family to like actually get divorced. I'm the first one in my family to like have the kids. I had so many kids at this point. Like, man, I just went in a downward spiral, and like I really found myself like really questioning God, like, what happened to like the God that I be hearing about at church? Like, what happened to the God that be like, oh, God'll bless you and God'll make your life change? And what happened to this God? Like, I was like, God, like, you can't be real with this, like this being my life. Like, this can't be my life right now. And I was really mad at God. And so, like, I just kind of like when I say like backsliding, I took a left. I took a hard left, and I'm like, man, this church stuff ain't real. This God stuff ain't real. And so man, I just like one day I was really just talking, like talking out loud, really talking to God, but just like talking out loud. And like I just started like, God, are you really real? Like, God, are you really real? Like, is this true? Is this faith thing true? Is this God thing true? And that's it. He never said nothing. It was like, but a thought came to my mind at the time, and it was like, what are you gonna do about it? I'm like, I'm finna go find me some women, you know what I'm saying? I'm finna try to, boom. And then it was like, but from that day, like I had asked the question, and that thought came to my mind, but it was not like God just like overwhelmed me with something, but I started subtly getting these things of like the stuff that I was saying that day. So like one of the things that I had said that day, like, God, if you really real, like show me so I can see you and know you. And it's like certain specific prayers that I prayed, like God, can you bless my money? Like bless me to I need to eat, or like God bless me to show me you real. Lead me to the right apartment because I ain't had nowhere to stay. Show me you real. Like I was asking him to show me stuff and like show me what it is that you want me to do. That if you real, then you gotta tell me what's something that you want me to do. And so he's like, he would send people like this crazy. I would be like at work, and people that don't even believe in God would come and be like, start up a conversation, and then they would say something like, "Man, you probably need to think about doing this, or you probably need to think about doing that." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." And then I would ask God specific stuff. God, what should I be doing with my money? Like, if you real, show me what I need to be doing with my money. If you real, like, show me where I need to be living, like stuff like that. If you real, like, show me, like, what do I need to be doing? Cause like this ain't working. And then like the thought would just come like change. And then people would come to me and say stuff, man, look, I was doing this, boom, boom, boom. Maybe you should do your money this way. You know, a dude came to me and told me about a book to read, and I just ended up boom going getting the book at the library, and I started reading it, and it was like I felt like God was answering my questions through like random people. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just like, man, I start asking like, God, are you real or not? And he started like revealing stuff to me, like like he was real. Like I would pray stuff. I got to the point where I started, like I read this book, like one of the books that really helped my mind to change is this book called The Eighth Habit by Stephen Covey. Man, it's like I read that book and it was like it it blew my mind, like the concepts that was in the book, because that was things that people would say to me, random people was saying to me, but in this one book, all of these things it was taught. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like God was just like doing stuff like that. Like I would be praying, like I would be talking out loud, like not necessarily just talking to God, but just talking out loud. And then like the next day or like the next hour or something, boom, something just fall through and happen. And so like I think it was at that time God was just like slowly revealing like himself to me. And then I start like, how do I find out if you real? How do I find truth? How do I is church real? Like, is this really, what you really expect? And like God like slowly start to just like show himself, like reveal himself to me. Like it wasn't even just on no church thing. It was just no, like imagine you talking about something privately, and then somebody that don't even know you or don't even know what you're dealing with or going through come up to you. Y'all have a conversation about one thing, then that person just say something randomly like that you talked about, and you're like, "Oh, that can't be God." And then they say like almost the specific thing that you had just vented about. Stuff like this was just happening on a constant, like consistent basis. And I was still trying to do my thing. I was still trying to slide, you know, do live the old life that I was living. But it's like every time when I would go back to like the old stuff, because I had quit smoking weed by then, but I started back smoking. But every time I would try to like smoke, I would feel like this guilt. And keep in mind, I was kind of mad at God, but he was like revealing himself to me. But I would feel like such a guilt, man. I felt like I would feel like guilt. I don't know how to explain it, but I would feel guilt. I would try to talk to multiple girls like I was doing to try to get over my sadness, and like I would feel so guilty. And I'm like, why do I feel this? And I wasn't feeling like, what I'm saying? Before I got married, I could do so many things. And then like now it's like, I don't know what's happening. And then it's just like I had slowly, like I would go to the library and I would get books and I would just start reading random books. Now, I was reading the Bible too, but I want to put emphasis on this. Like I was reading the Bible, but God used other books too to speak to me and like, give me messages. And I was getting it. So the thing, the pivotal moment that kind of let me know like, all right, God is like he doing something. I just don't know what he's doing. It was one day I was at work, and then man, this day was just like a real rough day. Like I was really emotional that day. Like I was really sad. I'm missing my kiddos. I'm missing my whole life that it was. I'm over here struggling. Man, I'm at work and the boss tripping. Like I'm just having like a rough day. And then this one day, I'm outside. Back then, I used to smoke cigarettes. I'm outside. I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm just like, man, this day, I'm finna go home today because I'm gonna hurt somebody. I'm just not having a good day. And then it started, boom, start pouring down raining. And I'm thinking, my day just got worse. Like I'm out here smoking. So I had to go run up under the shed because it's break time. I ain't going back inside, right? So I go under this little shed thing And then I got this thought in my mind, like, and look, y'all can say this crazy. I'm like, this thought came to my mind, like the way that the way that the weather is gonna change is how I'm gonna change your life. This thought came to my mind. It wasn't an audible voice. It was just a thought. I know it wasn't my thought, but the thought said, "How the weather change is how I'm gonna change your life." And I'm like, was that my thought? Or was like, what was that? I kid you not. By the time I got done smoking that cigarette, clouds had like moved. Like, you know how it be raining, and then all of a sudden, like, you look up and then it be the sun just be shining. When I say it poured down raining for like 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and then at the end of that, it was like the cloud just went away and it was just bright and sunny outside. And I looked up and it was like, yeah, I had an emotional response, bro. I started like crying, like, man, I think that thought came from God. Like, I think that thought came from God. And so, like, I don't know. That was my moment, man. That was my moment. It just felt like God had just told me, like, everything what you dealing with, like, I got you. Like, that was him just saying that. That was him saying, like, I got you. And then I started doing like, and it's one of the reasons, man. One of the reasons why I talk about this health thing, because one of the things that I started doing, and I feel like God was leading me to it, like change. He was that word just kept, it's like change, change, change. And I'm thinking like, what to change? And this is what I was talking about, like when you praying certain prayers and then God answer your prayers in subtle ways. Like, you gotta pray and then you gotta seek, but then you also gotta pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Because he'll speak to you in like subtle ways. And so I would keep hearing like, change, change, you just need to change. I'm like, change what? So I'm reading the Eighth Habit by Stephen Covey. Right then, I forgot what other book I was reading, but that Stephen Covey, man, that changed my whole mindset about life, everything. That changed my whole mindset about like life, about how to make decisions, how to be wise, how to hold yourself accountable, personal integrity. It's like all of these principles in this book that I was reading outside of the Bible, but it was pointing me right back to principles that were in the Bible. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, man, I would just change, change. And so then I'm like, man, I need to quit smoking. I had smoked from the time I was 14 years old to the time I was 27. And nobody told me to quit. It was just this thought, just, man, change. It's time to change. I'm just finna change everything. Like, I'm just finna change. I'm just finna change. And then I started reading leadership books by what's this man's name? John Maxwell. I started reading leadership books by John Maxwell. And he was saying about talking about again this thing, personal integrity and making things that to help improve yourself. And then it was like God, and I didn't see it at the time, but I just knew that God was like, change, change, change. But it was really like God directed me to become this person that I am now. But back then I didn't see it. I was just like, I'm finna start doing things different. Like, I'm finna just start doing things different. And then this is the prayer that I prayed. Like, this is the realest prayer that I ever prayed. Like, God was revealing himself to me. I felt like God was talking to me. I felt like God was leading me. I felt like God's hand was on me. Even though my life was at a painful place, I prayed this prayer. I was 27 years old. I was like, God, what can you do in my life? This is the truest truth. I was sad. I don't think I had a temp job. I prayed that prayer. What can you do in my life from this point? And like, I asked the question, I had no idea that God would answer me the way that he answered me. And he didn't do it like immediately. See, this is the thing. My journey, I was sad, I was hurt, I was upset, it was painful, and I don't take nothing away from that. And when I prayed them prayers, God didn't do it like that day. He never did that. And that's why, like, when I started asking the question, this whole question about church, like, what are they saying? And look, again, this is not a bashing podcast. Like, I'm not here to bash nobody church. I'm just here to say it's good churches, but then there's also bad churches. it's good men and women of God, like I said before, and it's bad men and women of God. And I would go to some of these churches and I'm like, "Hey, what is he talking about? Like, I'm hearing from God, but what he's saying is not what I'm hearing from God. Like this God that I'm learning about ain't nothing like what he talking about, So like, and I would go and I would pray like, God, what's up with that? I went to a church one time and the dude, like, I guess he called himself like prophesying over me, right? And so I didn't want to embarrass him, but he was completely wrong. And I remember like getting in my car. I'm like, well, I didn't have a car back then, but I remember getting in the car. I had a ride. I was like, God, I'm praying to myself, like, God, did you hear what that man said? And then it's like, that's why it's so hard for people to really like be into church. Cause like I feel like God was really leading me and talking to me. And then I get to church and it's like, what is he talking about? But then sometimes, you know what? I would like it'd be days I'm like, man, I ain't going to church today. It's Sunday. I don't feel like going. I ain't playing in nobody church. Like I ain't going. But then I'm like, nah, you know what? I gotta get up. I'm finna go to somebody church. And I would go to a church and it'd be like the message be just for me. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not discrediting the church. I'm just saying, like, man, you gotta find you the right place. Anyway, make a long story short, so that's like that it became like, so I prayed the prayer. God didn't do it immediately, but he just did it slowly. He did it subtly. It was like things about my life started to change. I got a job, a consistent job. And then I asked God, like, God, if you bless me with a place to live, bless me to be able to take, like, pay my rent on time. Because I had been reading finance principles, how to budget. I had been reading like what to do with your money, how much to live off of. And keep in mind, I had child support at that time, so I was struggling. But he blessed me with a job, and then I would pray like, God, what kind of job? He led me to the field that I'm in right now. The apartment that I had, I was praying like, God, it's gonna be hard for me to find a place to stay. And he just lined it up to where it's like I would go to a place and they would say no, but they know wouldn't discourage me from believing I'm gonna find a place. So I kept searching. And then after like the third one, I remember I found some kind of uh paper or something like a flyer. So I'm like, I'm gonna go check these apartments out. Go when I tell y'all, they told me I needed like I think $200 as my deposit, and I had $200 on me in cash that day. It was like God was just doing this stuff, like just making it work. And at that time, my credit wasn't good. My, I didn't have, I had no rental history, but it's like God just kind of, I don't know, kind of merged it. And you know what? Sometimes, like when people say, why, like, if God is real, why does God allow so much sadness? Why does God allow so much pain? If God is real, why does God allow why does God allow you to go through these difficult scenarios and circumstances? And I think this, me personally, the biggest lesson that I learned through that heartbreak was that I needed to change. Like, sometimes it take you being hurt to realize you doing something wrong. Like for my children, sometimes a lot of times when they were young, they would do things and hurt themselves after I done already told them not to do it. But the pain in the situation get them to understand they need to chill. And so, like, it's like God be doing that sometimes with us. That's what he did to me. That whole heartbreak, that whole sadness, that whole tedious journey was like God just showing me I needed to change. I needed to do some things like within me. Like I needed to fix myself. I didn't have personal integrity. Like I was lying and still cheating. I was still trying to play and get over on people. And like God was like, that's not the man who I made you to be. Like that's not the man who you need to be portraying. Like you have children, you need to be a man of integrity. And so like I slowly started to progress and change my life. And then this the thing. It started, but it was piece by piece. God helped me put every piece together, but it was little by little. It was piece by piece. It was brick by brick. And things came together, but they came together very slowly, very slowly. And like, one of the questions, one of the objections to faith always that I hear is like, why is God allowing me to struggle so bad? Or why did God allow me to go through this? Or why did God allow me to go through that? And I always say in response to that question, sometimes it be things that you need to see that you couldn't have seen no other way. Sometimes it be things that you need to understand that you probably wouldn't have understood no other way. You know, maybe it's something that you need to experience that you wouldn't have experienced no other way. And like I always encourage people to like you gotta push past like the pain that you feel and understand like what is the purpose for it, like what is the message. I had to learn that like the heartbreak, it allowed me to see like a message that I wasn't hearing. And then keep in mind, everybody was telling me, Marcus, chill out. Everybody was telling me like, you know, you going too far. Everybody telling me like you wilding out. Everybody was telling me that, but I didn't hear it until heartbreak and like being homeless, having to go stay with my mama, not having a car. Like I started to pay attention and listen. I started to read. Like I started to do things like I need to get out of this. And it was like God led me, but he led me the hard way. And like, you know, why? I don't know why, but sometimes people need to learn the hard way. It's the truth. The truth of it is like the real God that you read about in the Bible is like he teaches people the hard way. Because when he try to do it the nice way or the gentle way or the kind way, you ain't listening. And that's another thing. You know what? Sometimes people they say the Bible ain't real because you know it was written by regular men. Okay, if that's what you're saying, okay. The Bible ain't real because regular men wrote it. So okay, if that's your objection, my response to that would be every book you've ever written is written by a person. Does that mean that it's non-credible? I just showed you a book that I use to help my diet. Because a person wrote it, does that mean they don't know what they're talking about? I mean, I think it's a crazy objection to to the Bible. But when I read the Bible, I started to learn about like not the God that people was talking about at church. Some churches are beyond point, but some, you know, it, you know, that's neither here nor there. But I can definitely say that God had to teach me the hard lesson. One of the another objection to like is like faith don't work in the real world. Like you know, I was talking to a dude, one of my I'm trying to open up, be more open and share myself more, you know, my experiences and stuff with people. You know, I want to help people. So I'm talking to a young guy and he said, man, you know, no disrespect, but faith don't work for me. You know, faith ain't real. It don't work in the real world. And I'm like, I understand that. I understand. Much respect. And he was and I'm not one. If you say faith don't work, I'm not here to try to change your mind. I'm not here to convince you. I always ask God to give me opportunity, and the opportunity was He said to me, "How does faith work for you?" And I said, "You know, when I was believing in the wrong stuff, it didn't work. When I didn't have it, it didn't work." And the understanding that I was trying to get through to him is like faith works if you have faith in the right stuff and if you keep it alive. You know what I'm saying? Like you if you believing in the wrong stuff, it ain't you right. That kind of faith that don't work because you believe in this stuff that don't that you know I did an episode about faith and finance a little while ago, and there's a lot of people they have faith but in the wrong principles. And of course, faith ain't gonna work if you believing in the wrong thing. But like that's why you gotta find the right thing. And so like I told him that, you know, I was believing in the wrong stuff, and then I just started praying. And then initially my prayers wasn't even structured as prayer. It was like I was venting out loud. And like God just heard me because I was low key talking to God, but then I was just low key like talking out of my frustration. You know what I'm saying? But God heard me and he started like low key answering my prayers. And like it was like he was leading me to what it means to actually have faith in him. And like I say, it didn't happen quickly. And that's what faith is. Faith is like believing that God is going to do it even when it doesn't seem like God is doing anything. And that's how it was for me. Like it was just like that. I was sad, I was heartbroken, I was upset. My life was hard, but like when I would see certain things, I'm like, see, that's why you have you ever been like it's like you know God is there, but then you can't just like specifically like say pinpoint it, but it's like you got this feeling like, man, come on, I know I ain't tripping. It was little stuff like that. Like God would just confirmed that in my mind. And I'm like, that's what kept me going. I'm gonna go try to find another job. I'm gonna go try to find another apartment. I'm gonna go try to do this. I'm gonna go try to do that. And to me, that's how faith really worked for me, worked in my life. That's how faith like really took hold. And then over time, I was glad that I put certain things. I was glad that I started doing certain stuff. I was glad. And then ultimately that led me to like changing my diet, that led me to like changing my personal character, that led me to like looking inward for things that I was trying to find outward, that led me to like it's like faith just what I attribute it to God because I know He led me to these things to make me the kind of person that I am. But He had to lead me the hard way. He had to lead me like the tedious way. And so like it just became a guide for me. It became a guide. And look, the Bible, I read the Bible all the time, but there were other books that I read that helped enhance my understanding. And like it was the Bible, but it was other books. It was the Bible, but it was people and men and women. It was the Bible, but it was certain, things I would engage in. It was just like certain things, and that's my thing is sometimes God allows difficult things. Sometimes God allows painful things. But just because it's painful does not mean that God is not in it. Just because it's difficult does not mean that God is not in it. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I have a million other testimonies, but that was the main one. The one that changed my life the most was going through divorce and heartbreak and losing everything, losing my kids. And I really gave up on God at that time. But like God just he slowly revealed himself to me. And I realized like a lot of the stuff that I was believing was just wrong. A lot of the ways that I was thinking was just wrong. A lot of stuff that I was doing and engaging in was just bad. And it would have never worked for my life. And it changed my life. And so like, you know, that's pretty much the gist of it. I want you to share with me your story. If you have a story that you want to share, I want to invite you to share that story with me. You can email me and I'll shout you out on the next episode. You can email me at Marcus Stewart at tgmchurch.org. Um, I love to hear feedback. If you got a story, you can leave it in the comments. I can see your comments on YouTube. But yeah, man, I mean, I think sometimes people discredit God because he allows difficult things to happen. And just because it's difficult doesn't mean that God is not in it or that God can't work through it. So like, yeah, I'm into apologetics now. And I want to answer a lot of the objections that people have, like this faith thing, it's not real. And I always say this, and I'm about to be going offline because I'm almost out of time. But I always say it like this: like just because you can't see it working does not mean that it's not working. Just because you don't see it don't mean it's not real. Just because you can't grab a hold of it, don't mean it's not there. You know, a dude asked me, "How do you know God is real if you can't see him?" And I asked him, "How do you know love is real if you can't see it?" How do you know that anger is real if you can't see it? You can't touch anger. What is anger? What is that? You know what it is because you feel it. What is wind? What is oxygen? When I asked him that, he did. He said, "Hey, you know what? That's a good analogy. It is a good analogy. That's the whole point. The point is just because you can't see it, don't mean it's not real. And just because it seems like it's not working, doesn't mean it's not working. And it can be painful, but it can be helpful. It can be painful, but it can be helpful. I cut my leg while I was moving like a month ago, and it started healing up, but it was hurting. It was painful while it was getting better. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you thinking like God is just gonna always work this nice stuff, the sweet stuff, the easy stuff, but sometimes he don't. And so, look, I want to encourage y'all watch the show, man. I hope this episode was an encouragement to you. I mean, it definitely encouraged me. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button. I encourage you to subscribe so you can see and hear every time I go live. I go live on Wednesdays. I'm supposed to go live at a certain time, but I go live a little bit late sometimes because I have life. And I also go live on Friday, so I do encourage y'all to check out the show. If you want to be a guest on the show, email me, Marcus Stewart at tgmchurch.org. And yeah, I figured out a way to get you on. So yeah, I mean that's it. I ain't gonna hold you long. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. I'll see y'all on Friday. Man, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that little notification bell. All right, I'll see y'all.